Hello, hi students. This is asymmetric synthesis chapter, part 1. What this asymmetric synthesis is? As we know, synthesis is any chemical reactions in which a chiral unit is synthesized, where your substrate is converted into a chiral molecule. And a mirror image of that chiral molecule is usually referred as a stereoisomer. And if you get these stereoisomers in unequal proportion, we call that as asymmetric synthesis. In asymmetric synthesis, we synthesize one of the stereoisomer in major proportion. Therefore, we can put it as a chemical reaction in which one or more new elements of chirality are introduced into the substrate molecule is asymmetric synthesis. So we introduce chirality into that molecule by this reaction. Then the process is called as asymmetric synthesis. So we understand not having symmetry is what? Asymmetric. So that asymmetric molecules, we call them as chiral molecules also. So if that chirality is introduced into the molecule in any chemical reaction, such kind of reactions are asymmetric synthesis reactions, or the synthesis is referred as asymmetric synthesis. So before going to the lesson, let us see what we are going to learn in this module or in this part 1. Stereoisomers, diastereomers, enantiomers, racemic mixture, and then we see asymmetric synthesis and stereoselective reactions. So we require the knowledge of the stereoisomers and diastereomers and enantiomers for understanding asymmetric synthesis. So, and we require the knowledge of racemic mixture also. So this is our earlier knowledge, but still a recollection of this knowledge is also given in the curriculum. Your isomers are broadly classified into constitutional isomers and stereoisomers. An isomer is a isomers are such molecules which are having same molecular formula. If differed in physical and chemical properties, then they are usually isomers. And if structurally they differ, we refer them as constitutional isomers. So that we have learnt as chain isomers, position isomers, and all we study as constitutional isomers. Here we are interested in spatial isomers, that is stereoisomers. So if same kind of molecular formula is there but differ in spatial arrangement of atoms, then we can call them as stereoisomers. Here stereo refers to space. So around a certain atom, if arrangement of atoms is differed, pattern of arrangement is differed, then it is referred as a spatial isomer. These stereoisomers or spatial isomers are classified into two types. One is enantiomers, another one is diastereomers. And these diastereomers you will get as cis trans isomers, or conformers you will get as. Diastereomers again classified as cis trans isomers and conformers. These conformers are obtained by rotation around a CC single bond. So let us see what these stereoisomers and enantiomers and diastereomers are. So your stereoisomers are broadly classified into enantiomers and diastereomers. So a simple example is given there. This is 2-chlorobutane and it's isomeric 2-chlorobutane, one with wedge, one with dotted line. You can understand one as S isomer, another one as R isomers, as enantiomers. Diastereomer, introduce one more chiral center, you can write diastereomers for it. So chiral center is, if carbon atom is surrounded by 4 different groups, we call that carbon as chiral center. So this carbon here is surrounded one way with methyl, another way with ethyl, one way hydrogen, another one is chlorine. So that's a chiral center. So around a chiral center you can have enantiomers. If 2 chiral centers are there, diastereomers are possible. So let us see more into the details of these enantiomers. So here you are having example given R lactic acid and S lactic acid. R and S nomenclature we have studied. So this carbon is surrounded by 4 different groups: hydrogen, methyl, hydroxyl, carboxylic acid, and it is by notation by CIP rules it is R configuration. It is in R configuration, and this is in S configuration, and both are mirror images of each other. So one is R, another one is S lactic acid. So that's chiral, you can say. And here to mention that chirality, carbon when surrounded by 4 different groups. Here it is one way, it is ethyl, OH, CH3 and H. It is R2-butanol and S2-butanol. Both are mirror images of each other, and there is chirality in these molecules. So if chirality is there, spatial arrangement of atoms, if they are differed in, simply both are having same molecular formula. So thus you can classify them as one of the stereoisomers. And what type of stereoisomer that is, let us see. So that is, by definition, stereoisomers are spatial isomers. Stereo word itself means what? Space. So spatial isomerism you can call that one as. Once you understand that spatial arrangement of atoms differed, then it is stereoisomers, so having same molecular formula. So stereoisomer is a form of isomerism in which molecules have same molecular formula and sequence of bonded atoms, but differ in 3-dimensional orientation of atoms in space. They differ in what? 3-dimensional orientation of atoms in space. So except that, remaining everything remains same. What differs is orientation of atoms is changed, in space is changed. So having same molecular formula, connectivity is also same, but spatial orientation of atoms are only differed. Then they are referred as stereoisomers. So just in this case, these two are stereoisomers, S2-butanol and R2-butanol. What name is? Connectivity around this carbon you have ethyls and ethyls, you have methyl and methyl, OH and H, but the spatial arrangement of atoms is differed. So here it is, order is hydrogen ethyl CH3 OH. Here the order is CH3 ethyl hydrogen OH. So spatial arrangement of atoms simply differed. So then they become what? Stereoisomers. That's stereoisomers. And these stereoisomers are classified into enantiomers and diastereomers. What these enantiomers and diastereomers are? what an enantiomer is. So one of the stereoisomer that is a mirror image of that are mirror images of each other and are non-superimposable. So you should have a stereoisomer that should satisfy this condition. What is the condition? That should be a mirror image of the other partner, and it should be a non-superimposable mirror image, not simply a mirror image, but it should be a non-superimposable mirror images. So such stereoisomers that are mirror images of each other and are non-superimposable are called enantiomers, and one of the unit is referred as enantiomer. So here have a look at that. Around carbon you are having carboxylic acid, amine, hydrogen and methyl. It is L-alanine. What this is? This is L-alanine. Amine being on left hand side, you can say that is L-alanine. Okay. So, and amine when it is on right hand side, it is D-alanine. Around carbon you are having COH, H, NH2 and CH3, and this is Fisher's projection. In this projection, NH2 on right hand side, most electronegative group on right hand side, so it is D, and this is L form. That nomenclature also we have learned somewhere in other chapters. Okay, so from here it is D-alanine and L-alanine, and you can see a mirror is kept in between. This is a mirror, the line that is in between is the mirror. So if you place a mirror, this looks like something like this. In its mirror it looks like this, and now you pull this one and keep it on this, then what happens? It is non-superimposable. So simply lift it and place it on this, then what happens? H will overlap with NH2, NH2 will overlap with H, anyway COH and CH3 will overlap, but then what you can say? It is not superimposing. It is not a superimposing. So if it is not superimposing and mirror image relationship is there, then one unit will become an enantiomer of the other, and this will become an enantiomer of this one. Okay, so those two are said to be enantiomers, and these are stereoisomers around carbon having 4 different groups. Similarly, you can even represent that one in wedge formula. So in the case of wedge, how you can represent that? Sorry. So in the case of wedge, have a look at. So this is a mirror image of this one. And this is S-alanine and this is R-alanine. So S and R are mirror images, and S and R are said to be enantiomers. S and R isomers of a molecule are called as enantiomers. Simply you can define that one as, once you know S configuration and R configuration, and S and R configurations of a molecule are said to be enantiomers. D and L configurations in Fisher projection are said to be enantiomers for a molecule. For a molecule, if you could write D configuration and L configuration, both will become enantiomers. If you could understand S configuration and R configuration for a molecule based on CIP rules, Kohn, Ingold and Prelog rules, based on that, if you could give, then they become what? Enantiomers of each other, and they are obviously mirror images. And one more condition is they should be non-superimposable. So lift this molecule and place on this one, then what happens? Hydrogen will overlap with NH2. On lifting this molecule and placing on this simply, then what happens? It is non-superimposable, you can say. So once it is non-superimposable and mirror image relationship is there, then you can say that both are enantiomers of each other. And they have a chiral center also, that is also a must. When you have a chiral center, then only you can make mirror image of that one, and non-superimposable mirror image is possible. The other stereoisomer, which is diastereomer. So if you have more than one stereo center, we can't classify that one as an enantiomer. You will go for the another one. More isomers are possible, then the word diastereomer is required. These are also a type of stereoisomers which are defined as, these are not mirror images. So what should not be there? There in the case of enantiomers, we should have a mirror image relation, but here you should not have what? Mirror image relation should not be there. So these are non-mirror images, non-identical stereoisomers. So these are non-mirror images, and non-identical stereoisomers are diastereomers. So non-identical stereoisomers, what do you mean by non-identical? Non-mirror image we can understand, because earlier we have seen mirror image. Now this is non-mirror image. So if it is a non-mirror image, then you will get a relation that is diastereomer, and it should not be identical. That's it. Non-identical means should not be the same molecule. So if it is not the same molecule, then non-identical stereoisomer, which are non-mirror images, are diastereomers, you can say. So let us see one example in that case. So this is the infamous tartaric acid in its what form? Fischer projection. So in Fischer projection, this is the tartaric acid with the COH and COH and OH and H, OH and H. This is tartaric acid, 2 hydroxyl groups and 2 carboxylic acids. So that's your tartaric acid, and on the bottommost chiral carbon, OH is on the left hand side, and its rotation of plane polarized light is towards dextro, so it is written as what? Dextrorotatory tartaric acid, and this is on the OH is on the left hand side, so it becomes capital L tartaric acid, and with respect to rotation of plane polarized light, it is small d tartaric acid. Small d refers to dextro, and its mirror image obviously will become L tartaric acid, and this L refers to LIVO. This is not capital D and capital L, it is what? Small d and small l. Small d and small l denotes dextro and levorotatory, and dextro and levo rotation with respect to what? Plane of the polarized light in polarimeter. And here obviously its mirror image, so becomes what? H on the left hand side, OH on right hand side, OH on left hand side, and H on right hand side. So this is COH, no change there. Anyway, in mirror also they look like this. So that's how your mirror, when it is placed, D and L tartaric acids you will get. So if it is D and L tartaric acid, these two are mirror images and a non-superimposable, so becomes what? Your enantiomers, they become as 1 and 2. This is 1 and this is 2. Both are what? Mirror images. So mirror images and non-superimposable, therefore 1 and 2 become what? Enantiomers. The table that is given at the bottom in blue you can see. So 1 and 2 are what? Enantiomers. What about 1 and 3? So can you identify that with respect to your diastereomer thing? So diastereomers are what? They should be what? Non-mirror images. They should be what? Non-mirror images. Non-mirror. And they should be what? Non-identical. They should be what? Non-identical and non-mirror images. Then only you can give the relation of diastereomers. So have a look at 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are not mirror images. These two are not mirror images, 1 and 3. The third one is mesotartaric acid. Actually, third one is a mesotartaric acid. You will have a plane of symmetry over here. So if plane of symmetry is at here, we call this one as mesotartaric acid. Mesotartaric acid and your D-tartaric acid, and speaking of 1 and 3 molecules, are diastereomers. Are what? Diastereomers. And what about 2 and 3? L-tartaric acid and mesotartaric acid. Your L-tartaric acid and mesotartaric acid also becomes what? Non-mirror images and non-identical. As these are L-tartaric and mesotartaric are not mirror images, there is no mirror image relation, and these are not identical. So obviously they can't be classified as enantiomers. What they become as? 2 and 3 will become as what? Diastereomers. So if they are not enantiomers, if more than one chiral center is there, then the relationship is what? Diastereomers they become as. They become as a diastereomers. So now we have studied these enantiomers and diastereomers. In our reaction, if you could able to synthesize one of the enantiomer more, that is either S isomer or R isomer, in a chemical reaction by using certain chiral reagents, or if the reactant itself is chiral, or if the catalyst is chiral, or maybe the solvent is chiral. If one of these is chiral, then you can synthesize one of the isomer in more proportion, S isomer or R isomer, need not be alanine, you can synthesize one of the isomer in major. If you could synthesize one of the isomer in major proportion, that is one of the diastereomer is synthesized more in proportion, one of the enantiomer is synthesized more in proportion, then you classify such reactions as what? Asymmetric reactions. You classify them as what? Asymmetric reactions. And the synthesis is called, so such processes are what? Asymmetric synthetic processes. The synthesis is referred as asymmetric synthesis. Simply, by definition wise, a chemical reaction in which unequal amounts of stereoisomers are produced is asymmetric synthesis. So we are synthesizing stereoisomers in unequal ratio. Unequal means one is in major quantity, another one is in minor quantity. If you could synthesize in a chemical process or in a chemical reaction these stereoisomers in minor and major proportions, one in major, one is minor, then the process is referred as asymmetric synthesis. The chemical reactions in which one of the stereoisomer is majorly obtained is asymmetric synthesis, you can say. So let us see one example in that case. Schematically you can represent something like this. So you are taking a reactant that may be chiral or may not be chiral, sometimes prochiral, and in presence of a reagent or a solvent or a catalyst. So your reagent, solvent or a catalyst, here we make use of to convert reactant into products. Reactant may be chiral, reagent may be chiral, solvent may be chiral, or catalyst may be chiral. Usually in asymmetric synthesis, one of the reagent, solvent or reactant, one may be chiral. So if one is chiral, you can introduce chirality in your product. Okay, so chirality means then if chirality is introduced, they become stereoisomers. Without chirality or asymmetry, there is no chance of producing stereoisomers. If there is no chance of producing stereoisomers, we don't study that one as asymmetric synthesis. So we are synthesizing stereoisomers. So if you are synthesizing stereoisomers, your reagent, solvent, catalyst or reactant, one must be chiral, then you will get what? One of the stereoisomer in major proportion. Okay, so that's how this asymmetric synthesis involves chiral reagents or chiral starting materials or chiral catalyst or chiral solvents, then only asymmetric synthesis is possible. So let us see few examples and you should identify which is chiral in that. Okay, so you may usually make use of chiral reagents there or chiral catalyst there, maybe chiral reactant itself we will start with. Okay, see that. So this is the synthesis of butanol. 2-butanol we are synthesizing from 2-butanone. You are synthesizing 2-butanol from 2-butanone. Ketone is converted to alcohol, and ketone is converted to alcohol by reduction. That reduction is possible with NADPH enzyme. So among these you identify the chiral reagent or chiral reactant or chiral catalyst. What is chiral here? Your reactant is not chiral. Your reactant 2-butanone is not chiral. Here enzyme is chiral. NADPH. All enzymes are what? Chiral molecules, you can say. All enzymes are having made up of proteins, so obviously proteins having amino acids. Amino acids are chiral molecules. So here the reagent is what? Chiral, or the enzyme that we are using is a chiral. So that's how your ketone is converted to alcohol, and here 2-butanone is converted to R2-butanol as a major product with 90% yield, and you will get 10% yield of S2-butanol. And how to draw that S2-butanol? A mirror image of this one. Just simply draw its mirror image. Okay, then you will get what? Then you will get your S2-butanol. So this R2-butanol and S2-butanol are obtained in this conversion of butanone to butanol in presence of NADPH. And if you get one of the isomer in major proportion, we can classify the synthesis as a asymmetric synthesis. And here you got how much? 90% of R2 butanol you got. So therefore you classify this as major, and its isomer that is S2 butanol will become minor. So in any chemical reaction, if one of the stereoisomer is produced majorly, then such chemical reactions are classified as a asymmetric reactions or asymmetric synthesis. Similarly, let us see one more example here. R2 bromobutane. R2 bromobutane. Nucleophilic substitution reaction. SN2 nucleophilic substitution reaction. Bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction we are looking at, wherein R2 bromobutane on reaction with iodide. On reaction with what? Iodide from potassium iodide it is. So how your iodide will attack onto this R2 bromobutane and what kind of product is obtained? If R2 bromobutane is nucleophilically substituted with iodide, are you going to get R2 iodobutane or S2 iodobutane? We are going to get this S2 iodobutane. From that it is evident that the leaving group bromide and incoming nucleophile iodide will be leaving and coming in opposite directions or in different directions. Our iodide is coming backside to bromide, you can say. So it won't come in the direction of bromide. From that we can understand the mechanism of this process also. So that R2 bromobutane is converted to S2 iodobutane. From that we can understand that iodide is attacking towards the backside of the molecule, towards the backside of bromide, you can say. So then only you will get S2 iodobutane. If it is coming in the direction of bromide itself, then what you can say, you will get R2 iodobutane you might have got. But here you got what? S2 iodobutane as a major product. So from that you can say that pentavalent intermediate is formed. Sorry, your nucleophile is attacked from the backside of the molecule, and a pentavalent intermediate is formed, and that converts into what? S2 iodobutane. So this is an evidence for what? SN2 mechanism. SN2 mechanism, that the incoming nucleophile here in this case is coming in the direction where the bromine is not present. So that's why the orientation is given as a backside orientation. As it is coming in the backside orientation, you will get a configuration that is different from the reactant configuration. The reactant configuration here is R2 bromobutane, and the product's configuration is S2 iodobutane. So from that you can say that this is what? Inversion in configuration. Inversion in configuration. So if inversion in configuration is there, then you can say that the orientation of incoming nucleophile is backside. And here also you got one of the isomer in major proportion. So as you got one of the isomer in major proportion, if one of the isomer is obtained in major proportion in any chemical reaction, then such kind of reactions are asymmetric synthesis reactions. Such kind of synthesis are asymmetric synthesis. And here you got S2 iodobutane as a major, and your obviously R2 iodobutane will be minor. Therefore the reaction is what? Asymmetric synthesis. Thank you.